Welcome to Team DataFam Tableau User Group meeting number 24. This tug works a little bit differently to others because we cater more for the presenter rather than the audience. We're still glad to have an audience, obviously, but we meet at different times during the day, during the night, whenever the presenter is available, which is why we're meeting at this time now. All meetings are always recorded, put on YouTube. You can watch them later. But there's obviously always a benefit of being here live, being able to interact with the presenter, ask questions, etc. at the end, maybe through, depending on what Dara thinks. As you can see in the chat, you are all presenters, so I'm just trusting people to be muted at the right time, etc. Over the coming months, we've got some TC25 presentations lined up. We've got some Visit Sydney presentations lined up. And then times like tonight, we've got awesome other presentations lined up, which haven't been at any sort of meeting before, which is good. Or maybe they have, I don't know. So if you want to present anything in the future, please get in touch with me at team.datafam@gmail.com. We'll find a slot for you. But today, tonight, wherever you exist in the world, Dara is presenting Breaking Things and Building Dashboards, live Tableau MCP experiments, and something about Tableau, Claude AI, MCP. I don't know. This is what we're all here to learn. So I'll pass it over to you and we can see what this thing does.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks so much, Chris. And thanks for everyone for turning up to hear me waffle on about stuff I probably don't know enough about. So it's going to be hopefully a bit of fun. Excuse me while I try to work out like if I can share screen correctly. So
yep, right down the bottom there'll be a share screen button.
Yeah.
Yep.
So weirdly, I do have an IT degree, but I'm so bad at IT. So I'm just going to share. I'm going to share the window.
The degree has nothing to do with screen sharing.
Oh yeah.
Specifically, if it's Berry, yeah, it's Berry.
I'm just going to move this away. So can you guys see my presentation?
I can see black at the moment.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Sorry about this. I'll get this.
So there was some sort of MCP thing there to begin with, and then it disappeared.
Yeah. 1 second. It's just
So maybe the full screen is better. Depends on what you want to show.
Second. I'm just kind of jumping between a few things.
Yep.
Share screen. Oh yes, this is it. Is that working?
That's better. Yep, that's it.
Sweet. Okay. Excuse me while I do this. I'm just gonna I kind of need like 3 screens. But anyway, thank you so much, everyone, for coming along. Again, thanks to Chris for the opportunity to talk about this. This is a bit of an interesting area. Like Sam was asking me before, like, what the hell is this all about? I'll put my hand up and admit I'm still figuring it out myself. However, I've managed to kind of make like the first step in something that kind of seems really interesting. And I hope you guys find it interesting as well. Like, and I'm sure that in the days, weeks, months, years, people will not going to say necessarily expand on this, but like on this talk, but like explore these new technologies and see if they can do cool stuff with it. So I'm gonna give you a bit of here's a rough agenda. Now, excuse I'm terrible making slides, and I often kind of leave it the last moment. So it's like a random collection of slides and like styles. So and it's supposed to be I'm a bit wacky, so it's kind of like a bit wacky as well. So excuse me if you're going like these slides look odd. It's kind of thrown them together in a way. Probably you should have used AI to do it. But yeah, so the agenda is, look, I'm going to give you a gentle introduction to Model Context Protocol. I'm pretty conscious that this is pretty new for a lot of people, including myself. I fully admit that, yeah, I'm definitely not an expert in this area and definitely not an expert in AI either. But, you know, I'm very keen to know more about it. I'm also going to talk about what it might mean to the field of what I would call like visual analytics and business intelligence, which I think most people here in the Tableau world in particular, and even other contexts like Power BI or whatever tool you might use. Like, I want to kind of talk what my kind of thoughts on what that might mean, or what MCP and this technology might mean. I'm very keen to hear what you guys think as well. I'm going to attempt a live demo, which I think is probably going to be the most exciting part, and then we'll have like a bit of a closing discussion and questions. And I think Chris has got some quick questions at the end. Yeah, hopefully we have some fun along the way, as fun as a talk and data can be. But yeah, who am I? Who is this joker? I know a few people in the room here, but yeah, I've been working in data, I guess, for about 20 years. That picture on the right, I said the best I could find that kind of like looks most like me nowadays. I think I was doing like a mountain bike ride or something. But anyway, I've been working about 20 years in data, and I started off in information systems and moved into, I guess, front end business intelligence and analytics. I've been a Tableau ambassador now 3 times. And I finished top 10 in INVIS twice. I didn't get it to the final, unfortunately, so I'm kind of like the first place loser in some ways. I'm going to wear that badge with some pride. And yeah, work in Tableau, a bit of Power BI, Alteryx, really love R and SQL as well. So, and currently working in the energy sector in Brisbane in Australia. So if you don't know where Brisbane is, it's 900 kilometers north of Sydney. So yeah, that's kind of a bit about me. And I want to kind of start off with like a few kind of questions and I want to kind of set the scene a bit, a gentle introduction. Look, what if your AI could interrogate your data and you could just like absorb the insights? This is a kind of a bit of a stupid title for a slide because, we already know that AI is pretty good at interrogating data. Like you can throw a CSV into ChatGPT and it can like go through it pretty in pretty detailed. Sometimes you don't always get the right answer, but with a bit of guidance, you can like often get quite interesting bits of information. That's not quite what I'm kind of talking about in this context, and you'll get to see what I mean as I go through the presentation. But just imagine put yourself as a Tableau developer or a Power BI developer or whatever. Imagine that you're sitting there, you go, I don't have to use filters ever again in building my dashboards or my thing. I like filtering, but sometimes they can be annoying. So imagine you don't need to build any more complex calculations so your numbers work out correctly. Imagine you can talk to your data, depending where you're from, like a trusted colleague. Or you can just hook new business information into your systems or into your dashboards or whatever, your BI systems, without like really having to like leverage complex technological overheads. So not having to build like code out like connectors or API calls or something like that. I'm going to put it to you that the emergence of something like Model Context Protocol, MCP protocol, the protocol is a bit redundant in that sentence, but I'm going to say that I'm going to put it out there that the emergence of this or MCP for linking powerful AI models to like in-house data without having to write that complex code is a very exciting, perhaps a bit scary prospect. And that's kind of my argument kind of flowing through this, and hopefully you agree with me, or if you don't, that's fine. Just let me know or ask questions. So apologies if this jumps around a bit. Like it's a bit hard to kind of talk about a fairly new topic in some ways, but I'll talk about Model Context Protocol pretty generally, and hopefully you kind of get the idea. I think by the time we get to the demo, you will kind of understand what it's all about. So just kind of bookend this. But Model Context Protocol is what I call perhaps a gateway to faster visual analytics. So as I was saying just before the call, it was developed by Anthropic. So Anthropic builds Claude, which is a very popular AI application. It was done in like November 2024 as a protocol, and they made it open source. So basically any system or other AI application could implement this. So you can actually go and look it up. They got all the documentation up on their website. You can kind of think of it, and the very popular metaphor for this is think of like a USB-C device or a USB-C like a connector. It's basically USB-C or USB. It allowed you to connect anything or like anything with a USB connection into like a laptop or another device. MCP is kind of like that. It basically simplifies the connection between AI applications to like potentially anything else. So things like Snowflake, for example, to spreadsheets, to APIs, and of course, even now to Tableau. it works on a, like, I've got a architecture up there. It's a kind of standard client server architecture. What you have is this a host. I'm not going to go into this a lot of detail, but like you have a host like Claude or IDE like Visual Studio Code. It communicates with MCP servers via the protocol, via MCP protocol, and those servers in turn connect to various data sources or files. So Tableau being a big data source with lots of published data sources or other things on there. If they implement the MCP server code or the protocol, they can stand that up and then basically communicate with Claude or I think you can do OpenAI, ChatGPT, or it's coming. And that can be locally on your computer. It can be remotely over the internet. Today we're going to talk about using Tableau Cloud, which is on the internet. But Claude actually ships with a connector to Google Drive and the various Google infrastructure as a default MCP client. So you can actually just like connect your Google Drives into it and start using the AI application on that. So hopefully that all kind of makes sense. So I'm going to keep going through it. So basically it's one protocol, many powers, and I've kind of already explained this a bit. The client, be it like Claude, you can use that to ask a question, and the MCP server talks to those connected services, such as I mentioned, the APIs, functions, files, or databases, and it gets that information, the required context, and serves back the results to the AI application. Why that is kind of cool is because what you're essentially doing is you're using Claude and asking it what you connect these services in. And then you can then ask Claude, what tools can I use that I own or have access to? Can I use to answer a specific question? And therefore, Claude can like communicate with all these various connected MCP servers and provide the ability to get answers. So at the bottom there, the point I make at the bottom there is like, we all know how these large language models work. They can constantly retraining on new data. This essentially allows you to just add that context in without having to retrain the model. Again, I'm not like an expert in how large language models work. I'm kind of making some assumptions here. So I could have got that wrong, but this is the way I kind of understand it. Essentially, MCP allows you to add context to the model. Now, you're probably like going, oh, when's he going to get to the Tableau bit? But I will soon, and then it'll become pretty obvious, I think, to everyone who's ever used Tableau or a business intelligence type environment, how this kind of works. I'll keep going to just before the demo. I might take questions at the end actually, and then because I might answer some of them in the demo. But I'm going to give another metaphor. There's a lot of metaphors in this talk, and mainly it's because I want to kind of like make sure you don't get lost, because it's pretty easy to kind of like going, what the hell is MCP all about? And so I'm kind of hitting you with different metaphors to try explain it, at least the way I understand it. So this is another metaphor. So imagine like the current world of business intelligence, and maybe this is a bit of a pessimistic take. Often there's like heaps of aging dashboards just sitting on your Tableau server, often showing the same data in different ways, different contexts, different bits of information, different slices. Of course, you can organize it well, and if you're really on top of your data governance, maybe it's not that bad. But I've often found it can be pretty bad, and I think many people would agree with me. But I kind of think of it like a library where like the books are, instead of like being on shelves, just kind of piled on the ground in front of everyone. And it's like going into a library and then asking a librarian, like, where can I have this information? And you can see this little image that I actually generated using, I think it was Claude. It was like, imagine trying to answer that question if someone goes, oh, can I have a book on, I don't know, MCP? Having to like go through all these different piles of disorganized mess. MCP, in the MCP world, it's essentially kind of like employing a super librarian. I'm going to call them Claude. That image there is supposed to be a super librarian, but I just went with it because I couldn't think of a better example. It's like a two-step thing. You're employing a super librarian called Claude, and then you're like giving them an enormously powerful catalog system that knows the location and details of every book in the library. So the AI application is that second step. It's like that super librarian, but it's like MCP is kind of like allowing that librarian access to an enormous catalog where it knows everything. It's kind of like the gateway to that. That's what the protocol does. The library and the books themselves are kind of sitting on, you know, the services that are providing that information to the clients by the protocol. Hopefully that kind of works for you. I'm kind of drilled it in for a few angles, but I'll go into kind of talking about a bit like in the semantic model method, kind of thinking about Tableau a bit more. So, you know, Tableau already has like semantic layer, fields, calculations, metadata, relationships, joints, whatever. Has all these things sitting in, you know, published data sources on your Tableau cloud server, just sitting there waiting to be turned into visuals or dashboards or whatever. MCP allows you to surface that semantic model to an AI application safely, selectively, and programmatically. I'm going to say safely in a way. There's still some concerns in the community around security. I don't really know a huge amount about that, but there has been some concerns about that. But it's still a very new technology. But MCP, the protocol allows AI to read that's the stuff stored in that semantic layer in Tableau in specific. So a user can now say, "Oh, look, just ask AI, ask Claude or, you know, ChatGPT, show me the revenue by category last quarter." What it does, the AI then like uses your model to filter via the protocol, filter, query, and return, you know, potentially insights, and then, you know, analysis becomes this kind of like modular, reusable, and very user driven. You're probably like, this in a way is kind of like, I know Tableau, I'm not really expert in this area, but, you know, there's things like Ask Data and, you know, I could be completely wrong on this, but I know they're kind of going down this kind of path at the moment, or, you know, using agents and, you know, to query your insights. But in a way, I kind of feel like MCP kind of shortcuts this. It's kind of like open source. You can just use Claude, you can use ChatGPT. No need to like go into Tableau or go into BI systems to do this. You can just hook it all up, and you're going to see how it works. So essentially here, this is kind of like a very rough diagram. You have this, you have data, you have Tableau Cloud connecting to the MCP protocol into Claude. So a very basic, basic example. So hopefully you're still following along. But before I get to the demo, I just want to kind of talk about, like, you know, I'm not trying to say this is not about like replacing dashboards. It's kind of in a way, the way I think about it is like it's replacing bottlenecks. Like I still think there is going to be a demand for dashboards and like visual communication. But in some ways, like business intelligence, it becomes a bit of a gatekeeper on workflows. You know, waiting for tickets, wrangling tools. You know, it's very expensive to build dashboards. But MCP really kind of perhaps opens the on-demand querying of live data, and hopefully you'll see that in the demo. And instead, visual analytics becomes like a bit more conversational. And, you know, the dashboard, I think, is still going to be very valuable, but it's not necessarily the end point. It's kind of like part of a wider conversation with your data. So my little cartoon on the right is supposed to, it's like MCP or this AI-driven method of using business intelligence, you know, perhaps kind of circumvents these potential bottlenecks. So I'm going to get into the demo. So this could go either really well or really terribly. I don't know. I did test it this morning. It all worked fine. But I hope I don't run out of Claude credits, even though I do have a pro account. They can be a bit stingy, and this might, if it breaks halfway through, that's okay. Well, I'll show you an example I did this morning. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Claude Desktop and implementation of the Tableau MCP server, and I use the Tableau's documentation, which they've made available on GitHub. I'm going to use a data set that's sitting on a Tableau Cloud server, and then I'm going to ask it a bunch of questions, get answers, try refine it, and then finally show you some of its capabilities in building visualizations. I should mention it doesn't use Tableau to build the visualizations, and it rarely gets it looking as nice. It kind of uses JavaScript and HTML within the Claude application. The reason for that is Tableau haven't enabled that. I don't even know if it's possible, but basically Tableau just kind of serves data to the application. So look, I'm going to jump out of my slides here, and hopefully I'm not sure if you've been asking me questions because I've had it like maximized. I could pause here for questions if there's any, but otherwise, I'll jump into the demo. Is there any questions?
Did you want to pause or not? And people are free to unmute and ask questions now if they want to, but I know that some people aren't in the position to.
Golden. All right.
And my mic's
So
not working.
what I've got here on the screen is I've got like a local Tableau workbook, and I've got my MC Claude on the right. I've just kind of put them side by side so you can see what's going on. What I wanted to do with this is actually, so I built some very basic visualizations using data from my favorite sport, AFL, which my friends will know this quite well. I'm a bit of an AFL head. And if you don't know what AFL is, it's Australian rules football. It's just a sport we play in Australia. But it's got I've got access to some really rich data on player statistics. You don't really need to know much about the game to kind of I'll explain what's going on as we go through, but I just quickly developed like some worksheets this morning because I want to show you what's going on. So I'll quickly talk about this. This is a worksheet showing the top 10 players since 2019 by their rating points, average game rating points. So what happens is every game they play, they get rated on this scale, and then these are the average over time, and then I've got like total games played as well. So just come metrics, and this is a bit confusing. You can ask me questions later. The point is actually I want to show you how Claude can bring back some of these insights, but I'll quickly show you that I've just prepared 4 quick worksheets. So how highest average rating points. Then the highest average rating points where there's a 20 game minimum, it actually drops out 1 player because they only played like 3 games. Then there's like a dashboard or a worksheet that just shows goals per game with total goals and total games. So this Josh Kennedy's kicked on average 2.8 goals per game. They've kicked a total of 355, kicked 355 goals, played 128 games since 2019. And then I did a last one, just like top 5 players by games played who have played at least for 3 clubs in the AFL. So it's this guy, Bradley Hill, has played 191 games and played for at least 3 clubs. Now, you're probably going, I don't understand what you're talking about. This AFL is all brand new to me. That's cool. That's not really the point. I want to kind of show you what's going on. So, and I'll kind of go, hopefully I'm all right for time. I'm in my Claude interface here, and I want to quickly show you this. Like, this looks like a standard, like if you've used ChatGPT, or you know how these work, unless you've been hiding under a rock for the last 5 years. What you can see down here, because Claude is MCP enabled, you can see here when I look at this search and tools, it actually gives me, these are all MCP searches. So I can actually connect up my Google Drive, Gmail search, calendar, and it's already got web search enabled. But I've also got this one Tableau, which I built I've had running for a while now. And essentially, this allows me to query Tableau Cloud using these functions that Tableau themselves have specified: listing data sources, listing fields, querying a data source, and reading the metadata. And now I can actually turn these on and off if I want to, or disable them all. I'm going to leave them all on, but this is just the connector. I'm using Tableau's standard MCP connection. But I want to kind of start showing you. I uploaded the data for this viz on the left early this morning onto Tableau Cloud. I want to kind of show you how I've kind of prepared some prompts. I want to show you how it works. Now, hopefully this is where it could go very wrong, but we'll see how it goes. 1 second. So, okay, hi there, Claude. I've just pasted from another window. Thanks for volunteering to help me out today. Oh, spelling error. I don't know if anyone else talks to their large language models like a real person. I do that. First, I want it to connect to my Tableau Cloud instance and find my AFL player ratings data sets there. Can you confirm it? So I'm going to just ask it to do it. Cool thing about Claude is it tells you its workings. That's one kind of cool thing I like. So what it's doing is like it's connected to cloud. It's looking for a thing. It's found it. I found the AFL data set. There's one data source, AFL player statistics. That's the one I uploaded today. Perfect. I can connect to it. I found this data sets. It's kind of also noticed something else, a FIFA 20 players, but I am in the and it immediately the problem is, would you like me to explore this further and ask what fields are available, and you can examine the structure. I can go, can you examine the structure of the AFL data source? Keep it brief. Claude does have, Claude occasionally just kind of elaborates a bit too much and uses up all your tokens. But you can see what it's doing. It's reading the metadata. And then it's kind of going, oh, here's all the things I know about this. So this is all enabled by the MCP protocol. I've just connected it in and used that across the thing. So I'm going to start going, all right, let's do something kind of interesting. Like I'm just kind of asking it to query data, and then we'll get to visual later. So this one, like, look, I want to see a list of like the highest average player ratings in the data set and limit it to the top 10. Provide me the number of games. So if you remember, I'm trying to actually get the data that's on the left of the screen. And what it's doing is it's checking for relevant fields. You can see what it's going like this, and look what it's done. It is pretty much nailed it. It's rounded it up. It's kind of got decimal, but it's basically got the entire list that I have here is the same as my data source over here, and the game should be right. It's even picked up the fact that it's, this guy, Junior Rioli, he's only played 3 games, but a very high average, which you can see here. That's pretty cool. But I'm going to try to do the second one. So if you remember my second one, I was like, oh, I actually want to get like I only want to limit it to, I want to get rid of the outlier who's only played 3 games. So I've got one. Can you limit it to the players who have played at least 20 games and provide me the answer? So you might be going, cool, whatever, Darry. It's like querying a data set, really. But you can see what's going on. I find this cool. I don't know if you guys, maybe everyone's going, oh, this is like so boring. But hopefully it's kind of interesting. But what you can see, what it's done while I'm waiting is like, oh, here's the top 10 that has played at least 20 games. And the cool thing is, I'm pretty sure that is correct. When I checked this morning, it's removed Junior Rioli. It's figured it out. It's like he's only had 3 games, so I'm going to put Christian Petrarca in as the 10th because he's got the 10th highest one. Let's go to my next query on goals. So let's say I've got another prompt already prepared just to save time. Okay, this is great. Can you now give me a list of the top players goals per game? I want to get the number of games played and the total games. So basically, I want to get the data from that I'm showing in the left-hand side of the viz. So it's scanned using the query data source function within the MCP service. What is interesting, and you might not know this, it's only because I know AFL, it's actually got the wrong list. And the reason why, it's got at number 6, Charles Cameron. And now I know this in the data set, Charles Cameron, he actually goes by 2 names, Charles, and then his name later changed to Charlie. And so the later parts of the data set have him as Charlie, but Claude hasn't, it's still a bit stupid. It hasn't figured that out. It's, Charles Cameron's in here, but he's not actually on the list. And what I'm also going to do, so I forgot to say I want 20 games minimum for this list. It should remove Junior Rioli, who's in that list as well. Let's see, here we go. Yeah, it'll probably say Junior Rioli's filled out, but it's still got Charles Cameron in. The reason why is if I'll put this one in, I was like, he shouldn't be in the list because it's a data error. So I know that Charles Cameron and Charlie Cameron are actually the same player. Can you update? It's kind of like going, oh yeah, okay, I'm going to correct the list. But one thing it doesn't, it kind of stuffs it up again. It keeps going, oh yeah, I know it's the same player, but then what it's actually doing is it's using the wrong field. And I can actually see that. It's like, it's getting this field alias player name. It doesn't actually, if you notice here in my Tableau, I've got this group, which actually grouped Charles and Charlie together. So I just have to give it a bit of prompting. I was like, oh, okay, you might need to, the player full name is the grouping variable instead of the full name. So it kind of, that's why, it's very powerful in turn, but yeah, that's in some ways this kind of proves that we still need that guidance. You need that guiding hand of people who really know the data. So once I've given it that prompt, it goes, okay, cool. Like, yeah, that's awesome. So it removes him from the list, and I get pretty sure it's the same list here. So now I've ended up with the same data in Claude that I actually have in my visual analytics process. So you might be going, oh yeah, whatever. You're just essentially pulling data out. There's no like visual aspect to it. But I'm going to show you something, and this is where it might get a bit interesting, because hopefully I don't run out of credits. This is a bit like a bit intensive. Let's see. Can you create for me an interactive dashboard? Now, I have not tested this, so this will be fun. An interactive dashboard based on that top 10 player list by goals per game, pretty much that last list. And this is where it kind of gets a bit more interesting for me. This is going to take a tiny bit, so just I'll kind of just move this over here so you can see what's going on. What it's actually doing is it's pulling the data out of Tableau, out of the Tableau published data source, pulling it into Claude, and then it's building essentially a dashboard, but using HTML and JavaScript. Now, I'm going to say, spoiler alert, it's not going to look as good as a Tableau or even Power BI or whatever dashboard. However, it's kind of an interesting direction, I think, particularly as this, AI applications get better at visualizing data, or being able to, or even like if the Tableaus or Power BIs or Microsofts of the world get better at like opening up like services to kind of build stuff out. Okay, so this is what it's built for me. Hopefully you can see that. It's a bit weird on my screen. I think my display is a bit odd. Sorry, it's on this massive screen, so it looks a bit crap. It's not the best thing, and I didn't test this one out. Let's just see. However, I want to kind of show, it's like kind of built like a fairly basic dashboard here. It's got like these bands or KPI cards at the top. It's actually built interactivity like into it. Like I should be able to click this, and that will change these kind of massive charts at the bottom. Oh, sorry. This is where I didn't test, Chris. Sorry about that. It's I'll just try that again. It's kind of like just being really weird on my screen. I'll just maybe just minimize Claude a tiny bit.
Hey, it's a live demo. It's all good. It's working so far.
It's also like taking up a massive amount of compute power on my side. But build a smaller dashboard so I can see the charts. Let's see how we go here. Hopefully I haven't lost all you guys, and because I haven't been really watching the chat or anything. So I think, oh yeah, you're all still here. I'll just let it rebuild it for a second. So it just kind of like something went wrong with my display, I think. So I need some of that, hold music going while I do this. Maybe you can insert that in post-production, Chris, or something like that. You see it's building a scatter chart as well, building padding out as well, and populating the table. Now, it's still kind of done it a bit crap.
I wonder if you could specify the pixels or something, Dara.
I think my Claude's actually crashed. Let's see. Oh well, I didn't think it was going to be like plain sailing, but when I was doing this on the, I was doing this a similar thing with Fee and Sarah on their podcast that's on YouTube now, and it worked pretty well. Like, but it definitely showed charts better. So maybe I should go. Can you just build me one chart on the top 10? Maybe that's better. I'll give it this one last chance, and then I'll I'll let it down gently after that. Oh, we're going for time. Yeah, I've only got a few more slides anyway after this.
There is no time limit. It doesn't matter.
All right, here we go. Let's see. Let's just see if we can build one chart for me. Throw on that hold music again.
I was disappointed it was hard coding the data. I was hoping it was going to actually query the data from Tableau all the time.
Yes, a bit better now. So you can see, yeah, I was a bit ambitious, I think, building an entire dashboard. Can do it though. Now you can see here, this is a pretty basic chart. Like, with more prompting, like you could, definitely bet like these colors are in here. But the cool kind of things is like it's got tooltips and everything. So that's kind of interesting. Yeah, very basic. Most data professionals or visual analytics professionals would go, oh, that's pretty garbage, and I would agree. But you never know, for certain use cases, this could be really, really cool. As these kind of technologies and advance, I'm assuming it's going to get a lot better. So I might leave it there for the demo. I'm going to jump back into my last few slides, and then I'll hand it back to you, Chris, for questions or whatever the next part of the discussion is. Excuse me while I put my slides back up on the screen. You can see all my speaking notes. I just want to kind of talk about a bit of the implication. I'll quickly talk. I'm not going to go into this in a lot of detail because actually I've written up an article on how to do this, like set up the MCP server to cloud if you want to do, but it is ridiculously easy. So all I essentially had to do was set up a PAT token or a personal access token on Tableau Cloud. I had to point it to the right server, and then I had to edit a JavaScript file within Claude that stores its knowledge of MCP servers, and that was it. And then basically it could connect directly to cloud, and I could do all that stuff with it. I didn't have to do any. It literally took me 5 minutes to set up. And that is pretty powerful. I don't know how long it would take you to code that kind of thing. But yeah, so that's kind of like, I've kind of shown you what MCP enables rather than a lot about the protocol itself. But essentially, it's just basically an open line of communication. So this is where I'm going to get a bit out there, and you might disagree with me. You can see how the BI intelligent workflow, it could potentially be rewritten here. There's lots of MCP tools out there. Tableau's integration is pretty early, but yeah, I would say quite promising. It's very interesting. Tableau have done this, I think. I wonder what their play is. And you might be thinking, oh no, I'm not going to lose my job or anything, but I don't think that is the case. It just you might kind of shift from being a pure builder to more of a enabler. And also people, I think a lot of people would agree, most people out there who haven't had training in visual analytics, they're still pretty terrible at building charts. Visual best practice is still going to be mega important. You can think about it the radio came along years ago, and everyone at the time were thinking, oh, TV came along, and they go, oh, it's going to replace radio. We're still using radio today, more popular than ever, if anything. It's not necessarily a death knell for visual analytics. So the future analytics may not be necessarily clickable. I'm kind of talking about, it's more about conversations with your data. So you can let AI fetch the data, you shape the story. MCP and AI basically allows any stakeholder to ask, potentially a smart question and perhaps get a smart chart, maybe hopefully better than the one I just showed you. It might be, our roles might be more about curating that safe governed access to data. You saw in my demonstration that it was still pretty stupid about figuring out which variable to use, and I had to kind of guide it. But the more governed and higher data quality that you put into your data sets, that you enable access to via MCP to AI application, that could be more of the emerging role of the data professional. You could disagree with me on that, and that's cool. yeah, I think visual analytics tools like Tableau or whatever are still going to be very massively important. So yeah, we might insight flows and not static. You might see the disappearance of like static reports. And if you're, your Star Trek, it's I kind of imagine if you know your Star Trek, they all wander around the Enterprises asking computer to kind of give them information. It's like that's the way I kind of think about it in some ways. MCP allows you to communicate with the supercomputer in easy ways, or connect things up to the supercomputer. So yeah, I encourage you guys. Like, it's very early. Lots of MCP services are being built every day. Go out there, start experimenting, starting to break stuff. You can use Claude, Cursor, Visual Studio Code has implementation of MCP. I think Open AI is apparently coming. I think it's in the custom GPT area, but it's a bit unclear to me. Again, I'm not an expert in this area, and some people might know more. Yeah, get out there and break stuff. And yeah, that was just a screenshot I took before the talk of this MCP server directory. There's they're tracking about nearly 5,000 servers at the moment, covering various stuff. And yeah, if you'd like to know more, I'm not sure if anyone will get the Starship Troopers reference, one of my favorite bad movies from the 90s, but Anthropic have really good documentation on it, how it all works. The MCP subreddit's pretty cool. Lots of stuff on YouTube. There's a guy, Brian Julius on LinkedIn, is doing a lot of stuff in the BI space. I learned a lot from his stuff. And of course, yeah, I've written a bit as well. And also a bit of a plug for, I mentioned Fee and Sarah's podcast. I did a kind of similar thing, a slightly different angle, but that podcast is out on YouTube. I think I put it on my LinkedIn and stuff like that. So yeah, that's my chat for the day. Hopefully people are still here listening to me. I haven't just been talking to an empty room. But yeah, I'll leave it there, Chris.
Awesome. And can you hear me? No, we can't.
Oh, there's people here. Sweet.
We can, Chris, even if Derek
can't. I can hear you. I can hear you, Chris.
And Derek can't.
Oh, I can't hear anyone now. I'm like muted.
Derek,
You guys ask me questions. I don't know what's going on.
We can hear you still, Derek.
Have you muted us?
On your end.
I've lost all sound.
Can you see the chat?
Can I just rejoin? Sorry, Chris. I think my computer's just lost sound, so I can't hear anyone. I don't know if you. Hopefully, you can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right, I'll be back in 1 second.
Okay. That was the opposite of me the other day when I couldn't hear anyone. So what we're filling in until Dara comes back, if you were here for Jeremy's tug on, what was that, Monday night, and suddenly I couldn't hear anything at all. And when I listened to the recording, you could actually hear my audio getting worse and worse and worse when I was talking, when I was doing the presentation, or just doing the intro for Jeremy. So by the time he started speaking, I couldn't hear anything at all. But obviously everyone could hear me. Maybe it's a Bevy issue, I don't know. So Jeremy's recording is not on YouTube yet because I've got to redub my little bit of audio at the start and then put it back into the video before it goes online.
Hello.
Hey.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. Which is why no one will ever hear this little bit, because by the time it gets on YouTube, none of this existed.
I hope people weren't asking me questions during that, because I didn't realize my sound had basically dropped out. I had to go open Spotify and then make sure.
That's cool. There's a few times when you said, "Is there any questions?" And I said, "Yeah, it's a few questions," and you just burned on. I was like, "Okay, cool." That's fine. So the questions, let's wind back a while.
Yes.
If we go to the Q&A, that sort of makes it easy. I'm trying to capture both. Does anyone want to unmute and ask their own question? Now's the time.
Hey, Zayed.
Or I'll just read it out anyway.
Yeah, so thank you first, Derek, for the demo. First, my question is that you mentioned earlier that it's like the MCP service could be either local or over the internet. So the architecture which you showed was over the internet. Like, I would love to see how would the architecture be if it's something local, and if it's local, like can I use local LLMs like Mistral?
Yeah, I'll do my best to answer your question because I've only actually really used it with Tableau Cloud, but I have seen it. So essentially, like a good use case for local use is like connecting up like your Evernote, or I use Obsidian on my Mac, and I've seen people. So Obsidian, there's an MCP service that you can essentially run on your local computer and connect up your, like, I guess your notes, like catalog or archive. If you're like me and been collecting like notes and this information for like the last decade, essentially you could then just use the MCP protocol to connect your local repository of information into your AI application. So while I haven't done it personally, as I mentioned, I think Brian Julius, I give him a lot of plugs. He's done some cool stuff. He has a great video on demoing how to do that.
If you don't mind, could you share just his links? And actually, the use case is that like it's with one of our clients, and they usually like their deployment is on-prem, and due to some regulations, like the deployment can see the network. So like if you are going to implement something like this, it's going to be local in their host.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I kind of didn't quite get your question there. Sorry. That's all right. I think so. You're talking about. Well, you just kind of. Do you mind just repeating it? I just there's a bit of background noise. I didn't quite hear.
Yeah. The use case itself, it's like with one of our clients, and due to some regulations, the deployment itself, Tableau deployment, is on-prem, not Tableau cloud. So usually they wanted something like Pulse or Ask Data, and usually these features are not on-prem.
Yeah, interesting. I don't know the answer. You'd have to look up the Tableau documentation that they put on GitHub. It's pretty good. It's not really extensive. From my understanding, it's cloud only at the moment, which maybe that's a problem for your use case. Yeah. I'm not sure. I'm definitely not an expert in this area. I mean, I guess you could reach out to the Tableau devs they've only released it like 3 weeks ago. It's still very early.
I've already seen a use case
really?
by Will using LangChain actually.
Yeah.
But MCP looks interesting as well, so I'm just exploring the different possibilities.
Yeah. Awesome. I'm not sure if I answered your question there, but yeah, I'd be interested to see. Go out there and experiment and let us know. So
yeah, sure.
Anyone else?
I had a quick question, Darren. Sorry.
Yes. Hey, Andy.
Yeah. Hey, that was great. Thank you. Really great to kind of see what it all does and that sort of thing. There was just kind of a practical question. There was a publish button on there. If you publish, what does that do? Where do you publish it? What do you do in your dashboard after you've created it?
Yeah, it publishes like a Claude artifact, which I actually don't really know much about. It must be like I think it must publish the results into some like public area where people can browse like various artifacts. So I guess you could just, I haven't tried it, and I should really, is maybe I can publish the visualizations into like this kind of giant shared community of Claude artifacts, but I haven't tried that, but maybe I will next.
And sorry, just to follow up on that as well, like, so Chris made the point, but just to kind of re-emphasize that if you were to publish it, Chris made the comment about it having static data.
Yeah.
So it's only as true as when you publish it, right? So
that's right. Yeah.
It's not good any of the moment for.
That's definitely. I mean, a lot of this is like very like I don't have the knowledge, but yeah, you're all right. It is essentially when it's creating the visuals. I see it in the thing. It's basically loading the data into a HTML file or JavaScript file, and it is static. So yeah, I guess it's only as good. I wonder if they could. I wonder if that could be overcome. I don't know. It's kind of like I don't have the knowledge. So yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
No worries.
I had a question, Dara. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, I can. Sam, is that you, Sam?
Yeah, it's me, Sam. So you're talking about the semantic layer, which I assume from a Tableau perspective is published data sources.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah.
Do you know if it would work with an embedded data source? And I guess, could you even query a workbook? Like effectively, lots of calcs, in there in the workbook that you could query and, like, does that make sense? Like,
yeah, it does.
Query the visualization.
I don't know for sure. My gut feel is it's published data source only. I have a feeling
at this moment, maybe.
Yeah, it needs a personal access token, and maybe even Chris could answer this. I'm sure there's a few Tableau people in here, obviously. who might, I'm not really au fait with a server as much as desktop, but you need to have a public. Can you get access tokens to other things other than
a
published
PAT
data sources?
does anything that you can do when you're logged in, because it's essentially just a different way of authentication logging in.
Like a service account.
What I would think is it can't do the workbooks, because when you went back to so what was almost like the endpoint that Claude was querying? So there was a list data sources.
Yeah, it's
and
like 4 of them. Yeah.
So it would have to be a query workbook or open workbook or something to be able to get to the workbook. It looked like I could get to the data source really easy, but actually I didn't see anything there that said workbook.
That's you're 100% right. They've only got 4 functions at the moment. I mean, Tableau could build more. That's up to them.
Yeah. Feels like something maybe in the future. Hey.
Yeah. As soon as they release that next feature, then you've got it.
Yeah. Do you understand it now, Sam? I know you asked.
I understand it
kind of a bit more
more.
clearer.
Yeah. And just from your perspective, is it like when you say, oh, it's quite expensive with the credits and whatnot, like how much do you have to pay for it? Like personally, are we talking $50 or are we talking like
so with Claude,
500 or what
no,
does
it's
that
kind
look
of like
like?
I pay the $30 a month or whatever it costs for the subscription. But I just noticed like it's quite like resource intensive, particularly when it like starts outputting those giant HTML files with all that data in it, and you just churn through your usage. I've hit the limit several times, and that's why I was paranoid. That's why I couldn't use it today. I couldn't test too much because like I knew I could run that risk. But you can of course upgrade for like way more, but it costs like triple the price. So
got it. Yeah, thank you.
But if you're on that, are you on the Claude Max plan as well?
No, I'm on Claude Pro or whatever.
Okay, yeah. Oh, sorry, it might have been Pro. Yeah, but Pro is even with, I think I'm on the same Pro account, is you get a certain amount of credits in a 5-hour period. So if by the time you run out of credits, it's when did your conversation start? And if you've been talking to it for an hour and you run out of credits, then in 4 hours, you basically your counter gets reset and you can continue on again. So essentially, if you're doing a lot of this work and it sort of goes, you're out, you can just go, I'll just wait for a while and then I can get back into it. So there's plenty of stuff like this on YouTube of just going, oh, I've run out of Claude credits, and everyone sort of goes, so have a break and you'll get more. But there is people around the world that are just not on this side, on like app development side, of just smashing Claude all day because it can write code faster than you can, and it's ridiculous.
It's good. Yeah, I like it. I think I saw another question. Was it from Emmanuel? I saw a hand raised.
I'm trying to get back to Emmanuel.
Yeah, my question was regarding if you have thinking about like a use case for scraping maybe the metadata of your Tableau dashboards. I was thinking like maybe creating a kind of like a connoisseur of your server that you can start asking questions, like someone that is new to the company or the organization, just to ask questions like, if I want to see these values, or I was tasked to do this, which dashboard will be the best based on the metadata of the dashboard?
That's a great use case. I haven't even really talked about it, but yes, I think that's a really good use case. It's very quick if you have it connected up. Like I can see how it's useful. One I kind of mentioned when I was talking to Sarah Burnett, she was like, "Oh, this could be really cool for just like wireframing stuff." Like it does crappy visuals, but I was like, "Oh, I can like very quickly just build something very basic and kind of instructive. It's like, this is where the bands will be." So I think it's like really powerful in that domain, like kind of like onboarding people or like showing basic kind of designs that like, because we all know like building complex dashboards, they can take quite a long time. I don't know how I use Figma typically for my prototyping, but I can see how this could even be faster, even if it's just like a basic thing. So, but I love your use case there, onboarding people. I think it's a good one. Yeah, cool.
So I was just replying to Zayed about Claude prices. So Max is from $100 a month US. Pro is from $17 a month US. Slightly more expensive if you pay by the month or if you pay annually, but depends on what you want to do. There was a whole heap of questions in the chat that I'm just trying to find out.
I'm so embarrassed now, mate. This happened actually the other day when I was using Claude with Fee. Like my sound just died. I don't know why it is, but
it's just chewing up too many resources.
Yeah.
So one of the questions earlier was, what's the difference between Tableau Agent and MCP?
Ooh, I don't know, because I've never used Tableau agents.
Cool. And the next question, which might be the same answer, does it work with Gemini?
Just Gemini. I don't know if Gemini. I'm assuming it's going to eventually work with all of them if they implement MCP. It's an open protocol. I don't know, but you just have to look it up. I'm sure people are starting to ask. Just on the Tableau agent thing, though, I mean, I don't know a lot about Tableau agent. Like, I know it's, you get a lot of stuff from Tableau itself, but it kind of seems almost like doing similar things from what I read. I don't know what other people think. And I'm like going, it's interesting. That's why I was like saying it was interesting. Like, and I, why enable an MCP service if it might compete with something that you have? I don't know. I mean, I'm conscious I'm on the Tableau user group here, but it's just kind of, I mean, I can see how it could be powerful. Maybe this is like maybe it's like the drip feed for Tableau agent. It's like, oh, you can do this with MCP, but like come use agent because we can do all that things like Sam was talking about, like, querying workbooks. I don't know. I don't know enough about agents. So, yeah. But yeah, interesting. Sorry.
But it's sort of like the same as... Go, Sam.
I was just going to say it'd be interesting to see what the differentiator is for Tableau agent, given that they're enabling this, because I think I see that in Tableau. They're really opening it up, this data service, they're really enabling the data to flow through to other platforms. And I think this is just another way of enabling that while keeping the data still in Tableau. So I think that's great, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they position agent.
Yeah. It does make me, so just a comment to respond. It does make me think, though, Tableau in this case, in some ways, is acting like a database system. Why use publish data source when you just connect to your SQL Server or Snowflake or whatever? I don't know. It's just, but I think you're right, Sam. They're just trying to, maybe people are building these MCP things that they kind of see the wave coming and they go, oh, we just need to get on top of it early. And start working in this space because we think it's going that way. I don't know. Maybe it's a good play. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, and using the play in the different words, maybe they're just playing around and sort of going, if everyone's doing this, maybe we should buy in as well.
Yeah.
One of the other comments in the Q&A was, can we ask Claude to use R, Python, Viz packages like ggplot, panel, plotly instead of HTML? That's an easy answer. Yes.
I don't. Well, no, actually, no. Sorry, I said I don't know the answer, but that was going to be that's my next experiment because, yeah, technically, I think I've seen it. I've seen it somewhere where you can basically go. Can you spin up like a Shiny server to do R charting? And we know, like, if you've used ggplot in R, it's very powerful. A lot more work than Tableau and other places, but like if you can do that really quickly, yeah, it's very powerful. But I don't know the answer. Go out there, give it a go. It's pretty easy, easy to get started. But yeah, it's kind of like my next experiment because I actually was going to try get Claude to recreate my IronViz entry. It failed miserably, but it was, and I was like, oh, maybe I should try in Shiny or R or like Python or something like that. But I never quite got there.
So in my experience, Claude writing Python code, it is just like the same thing. It's not going to get it right the first time. But it is pretty awesome how much code it can just pump out.
Yeah. And
then you can sort of run the Python code and go, oh, no, not what I meant, but this. And it'll go, oh, I'll just rewrite the code.
Yeah.
And there was a Streamlit app I wrote the other day for a client. The client knew I was using AI to do it. So that's props. And I forget how long it took. It was like only a few hours to get this awesome big Streamlit app that did all this stuff with Tableau. And it's just saying to Claude, oh, can you do this? And then, can you change it to do this? Okay, this bit's broken, add this bit. And you just, same thing, having a conversation to actually get to the point where it's just like, okay, I'm finished because I'm done because it did everything for me.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Srinivas says, can we create 3D charts?
Oh.
Yes, I would think so.
I hope so.
Why do you need a 3D chart? But get Claude to write the code. It'll be fine.
Why don't we go like 4? Why stop at 3 dimensions? Let's go 4 dimensions. I don't know. That's funny. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't tried, but probably.
Yeah.
Because like literally, you're just using the AI, and the AI can like, oh yeah, cool. I'll just build a 3-dimensional image of this. But yeah, that's funny.
Yep. Awesome. Let's go back. We're dropping people like flies, but that's okay.
Yeah, it's
We'll
probably
catch up
time.
on it later
Yeah,
on.
it is time. Yeah.
We need to get to the end of this first as well.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay, for those that are left, there's all Dara's contact details and links. He had that on his thing as well, but I like to include it here. And then the last section is 5. So again, 5 quick questions, 5 quick answers. I put in some tricky ones for you, but again,
sweet. I'm ready.
if they're too hard, pass. That's fine. It's not meant to be anything. It's just meant to be funny. It's not meant
I
to
phone
be
a friend
anything serious.
or something like that.
Oh, you could as well. You've got a few friends on here, so that's easy. Okay, first question. How has learning Tableau influenced your approach to data analysis?
Hugely influenced. It's definitely made me a lot faster. It's made me more conscious of building stuff that looks good, enables that speed and that aesthetic value, I think. Yeah, I just think, I mean, yeah, when it comes down to it, it's just made it better, I think. Yeah.
Awesome. And number 2, what future features or improvements would you like to see in Tableau?
Have I got spell check yet? I don't know.
Not on desktop.
The classic joke. Oh man, I've got such a long list of stuff, I think. I definitely think, okay, here's one. I would love them to integrate prep into Tableau desktop. It's one of my bugbears. I don't know why it's separate. It's annoys me. Maybe I just wish they could do that. I think competitors have an edge in that area, and it would be so easy to put it in. I don't know. Yeah, that's
I know. Good idea. Number 3, what's your favorite data set you've ever worked with?
Oh, I've just shown you, Chris, the AFL players data set. It's the
Told
one
you they were-
I really love it because I love football, and the data I can get, it's pulled out of our API, is really good. So I love using it.
Yep. I told you they were simple questions, right?
Yeah.
Number 4, do you like practicing new skills on real work or on pretend projects?
Oh, probably more inclined to real work. Yeah, I like practicing new skills when I think it's going to add a lot of value. I don't mind either way, but yeah, probably the former.
Yep. And finally, would you rather use a mouse or keyboard shortcuts?
Oh, I'm probably a mouse, to be honest.
Yep.
Yeah. I know a few keyboard shortcuts and they get used a lot, but I definitely don't use them all. So yeah. And then I switch between Macs and PCs, so it's it's a pain. Mouse all the way.
Yep. Awesome. No worries. Thank you. We'll get back to whoever's left in the chat in a few minutes.
There's a few people
left. But the next tug is in 5 days' time. It feels like a bit of a break when it's 5 days between sessions. But Tim's joining us from Seattle talking about mapping mischief and crime in the area. So I would imagine a lot of maps. He talks about geospatial analysis. I don't think anyone on this side of the world's seen this presentation before, so that's why it's here. Again, because he's US-based, the Americans get to have a nice early night, and the Europeans get up really early, and we're sort of relatively early. Depends if you've got time at 8 o'clock in the morning if you're in Sydney, or whatever time you are with the rest of the world. Can I do the translation for Zayed? That's about 2 a.m. So, sorry. But how do you get to see a presentation from the US when you live in Egypt? We're sort of lucky there's a little bit of crossover, and yes, other times not so for other countries. But again, if you cannot make that, then all the recordings are on YouTube of this tug and a whole heap of other online tugs. If you know of a tug who records their sessions and it's not on the YouTube channel, then tell them to get in touch. Everything that's recorded on the YouTube channel is obviously, you can watch it on YouTube. You can listen to it on Spotify or Apple as well. So I tend to burn through the audio podcast at about 1.2, 1.5 speed. And then when there's something interesting, I go back and watch that on YouTube. I know quite a few people that do that. I was joking with Fee the other day that I was watching, I think it was actually Dara's thing on YouTube, and the intro music is just really slow because I'm used to it at about 1.5 speed. And so when you're listening in just 1 speed, it's just like, that's far too slow. But whichever, it's all good. And my email again, if anyone else wants to present or have any comments about recordings, tugs, etc., team.datafam@gmail.com. So thank you, Dara. I think everybody here learned tons. You can see in the chat of just people going crazy, and obviously everyone's logged off to do it themselves. But it was good to get that insight. And yes, I want to hook it up to a few things and see what happens as well. So thank you for your time, and thank you for the presentation.
No worries. Thanks so much, Chris, and thanks to everyone who came and who are sticking around. Yeah, good to see. I'd love to see what people are going to do with this. So yeah, thanks again.
Awesome. And if anyone's got any final questions or something, if you've actually got some time left, there's only a few of us here.
I better go put my kids to bed anyway. So
Okay.
Thank you, Dara. That was so good. That was
Cool.
awesome.
Thanks, Dara.
Really
Thanks, Chris.
appreciate it.
Thanks, Andy.
See you later, everybody.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Talk to you
Thanks
guys
for your
later.
time.
Bye.
Okay. See you. Bye.